Yes, it's recording. Thanks for letting me know. Right, this is something I swore I wouldn't do, ever. But after I did a little slog, which is my nickname for a singing log, like a video log is a vlog, and a blog is bedroom log. Terms that I hated when they first arose, and here I am now doing them. It became apparent that, well, obvious, due to a remark that somebody had said, apologies for the background, I'm in a comfortable position at the moment, and the covers to my sofa are currently drying after being washed. Yes, after a remark, a comment left, a very nice comment left, of me singing Wicked Game, which I rather surprisingly uploaded, then followed by my rendition of Spandau Ballet's Through the Barricades. I sort of thought that because of my attacks, people might see me as being extremely highly strung, coiled spring, constantly angry, paranoid, as my current GP would like to say about me. That's not the case. It became apparent that, excuse me one moment, I do like to, somebody likes me wearing my cap. Yes, I've been involved in a lot of things, and I have an ability to see things. I spot patterns in things. I always have done. Even sometimes when you need pure mathematics and algebra, I can see things. Shot to a room full of a classroom full of people at my access to computing course at Waltham Forest College. By coming up with a number you needed algebra to do, and I hadn't done algebra in 10 years, so I didn't even begin to attempt it. But looking at the problem on the board, I came up with a number 17. It turned out to be the right answer, and everybody in the room wanted to know how the hell I did it, because they said you couldn't do it in your head. So I explained how I did it. I can genuinely, most of the time, tell the truth from the bullshit, and sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it takes me a bit longer, but I get there in the end eventually. I've been involved with a spat with a number of public offices, some going back 20 years, that have really in effect destroyed what I had little of in the way of a life, and then proceeded to do the same to my daughter, and started doing exactly the same to my 2 grandchildren. And the things that she's gone through, most people would not believe, but you'll have to look around. I have a blog explaining all that I'll talk about today, and that of my daughter and what she went through, and that's it's a Google blog, because I stuck to Google because they're a big name, and I sort of realised later I was kind of being screwed along with lots of other people by them. That's one word, a saint called all nights.blogspot.co.uk. Blogspot is just another thing that Google bought so that they could corral everybody together into one place and do as they pleased after that. Just like this is on YouTube, another thing that they purchased. So I wanted to do a little video log, something I swore I'd never do, just basically speaking a little about me, and the things that I've done. of the battles I've had, quite a few public offices that I'll just talk about here, just ones I've jotted down here on the screen to work through one at a time. One of these, and not the main or the most serious one, would be local government, mainly councils, Waltham Forest Council, Wirral Council up in the northeast to do northwest to do with my daughter, Enfield Council where I live now, and Epping Forest District Council. All those arrogant, suffer from God complexes, you know, look down at people like they're little people, and did some very, very serious things to me in my life, which had, and my daughter as well, which I'm more annoyed about than I am at what they did to me. Despite what they did to me being bad enough, my daughter, what they did to her was far worse. Via the council, they have hired thugs known as bailiffs that don't follow the law or the rules, and the councils know it. You know, and I was attacked here in this room, and they walked out the door with over £4,000 worth of stuff for a parking fine I thought had been quashed because of my disabilities and the fact I was in a bloody old car and the engine flooded and I broke down, and I was literally waiting, and I was in a shop with somebody I know, for the petrol to evaporate so that my old Golf automatic could start again. They took a bike that featured in What Mountain Bike, my bike that featured in What Mountain Bike magazine, not a bike that featured in What Mountain Bike magazine, it was my bike. It was custom built to my specification, including right down the tiny details like the colour, which the builders, Hill Cycles, had some input into. They took a TV that used to sit there, which I don't have a TV there anymore, 40-inch Samsung Series 6, which was brand new. I paid £1,300 cash for a Blu-ray player, Panasonic BD30, which had just come out. I paid £300 or £350 for out of the local Comet before it closed down. And they took an Omega Seamaster watch worth £700. The bike was £4,400, but that was with discounts, and looked like it was new, and was up for sale even though I didn't want to sell it. They'd stopped wrongly and illegally my disability living allowance, so I had my precious bike up for sale, and it was up for sale for £3,000, and I had two people trying to raise the money to buy it. It sold at an auction for £2,800, and they told me they sold it for £400. I don't even have to go into the Omega Seamaster watch, you know, because just the bike on its own, the Omega Seamaster was a £700 watch plus. So they hire thugs, and they're quick to jump up and down when the public break the law but don't follow their own. They hired a company called JBW Group, and a bailiff called Jason Reeves, and then lied through their teeth about absolutely everything afterwards. They even said that there were two bailiffs present when there weren't. Some chap called Christopher Lucas, if I remember correctly, who wasn't even here. Via that, I've also had, via my daughter, Merseyside Police, you know, and I collected evidence along the way, lots of it. You know, smartphones are smartphones. People just don't realise what they've got in their hand, where I put it to maximum use, and it wasn't the only device I had to hand either, but they were very good at recording phone calls and recording right on this set the two detectives from Merseyside Police who sat here and like a couple of idiots while I recorded them, and then later lied about everything they said. But I had 5 hours worth of tape of them saying they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they didn't do a damn thing, and then lied to me about repeatedly as well, rather surprisingly, and I recorded the phone calls of that too. During all this, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs were involved because of a couple of issues, both of which were fraud on a grand scale of millions of pounds of taxes. They didn't do anything, and of course I have disabilities. Sorry, I got a Nicorette gum in my mouth. I'm just moving it around in case you wonder what I was doing. Yes, my disabilities. I'm afflicted in 3 areas of my right foot, 3 areas of my left foot. There's a problem with my calves, knees, hip, my back, from the sort of middle of my back to my shoulders, and my right shoulder and right hand. I can actually show you my right hand, because if I try to bend my fingers back, they all curl backwards, all except for that one. I have a problem along here. We won't go into how that was caused. Well, that's if my guess is right on how it was caused. As regards to diagnosis of any of the things I've got, I could give you several that were given to me. I couldn't tell you which one was the right one. I could hazard a guess that none of them are the right one. Every specialist I've seen has rubbished the last specialist I saw. And I was lied to about an ultrasound test very recently, and I got the chap on tape when I pulled him that he was lying about the results of the test on my groin, admitted that there was something, and then dictated a letter in front of me to my GP, which never arrived. He got the original letter saying there was nothing at all on the 6-inch square area of my groin, when the fact was there was a hernia, which I wasn't bothered about. You know, I was told years ago I'd get one. When I had the repair to the other side done, he said, you know, you'll get one the other side because you have a weakness, and he was right, Martin Klein. So, you know, they wrote a letter saying there was nothing when there was. I went there for a pain where the repair was. They showed a big black patch. The ultrasound guy didn't know what it was. Right, he did the other side, and there was a hernia. And according to them, that's nothing, and that's what they're looking for, is a hernia. So there's lots and lots and lots of that to do with the NHS, and you know, I have recordings where I'm called into meetings with heads of departments, because I'm a difficult person to argue with. You can't bullshit me, okay? You know, I can smell it 5 miles out that I'm being bullshitted, and then I will just use the situation to get what I want. And I walk out the door and they think that they've won, but I've walked out the door with a smartphone and recorded everything they've said, knowing that the next time this happens they'll say a completely different set of questions and I'll get them again. You know, so that's gone on for a couple of years. Oddly, one of the things, many things that I know about, because I have a huge sort of repertoire of skills, and it's wildlife. And of late, and something I'm probably now going to get heavy into, is the fact that there seems to be a scam going on, in particular with the Lee Valley Park Authority. And I've been visiting certain areas for 6 years, and from the moment I found them, something wasn't right. I knew straight away the first site I found with orchids was artificial. And then alarms were raised when I emailed the Park Authority with some advice, because they were doing something wrong, which they'd taken absolutely no notice of. I've offered them my help and expertise, and free advice, which they turned down. They told me that the site was natural, and I knew as soon as I looked at it and visited it that it wasn't. And then found a liner that runs over the whole site, which is easily seen if you stand on the bridge and look underneath it. So it's not natural. They lied. So the alarm bells were going off a few years ago. So I've been keeping an eye on things, taking photographs, doing videos and working on it, and I've realised that they're actually up to no good, and planting things and introducing things badly, and killing things on a grand scale. So I'm probably now going to switch and concentrate on that. One of my brothers has now realised how serious it is, and he can't quite believe it himself. When I sent him photographs of what their latest incompetent attempt to manage the wildlife park. Along the way, because of the number of different things I've been involved with, I've also had call and good reason, and if I have good reason to do anything, I will follow the channels, the correct channels, as they say, to chase things up, knowing before I start that the whole thing is just a crock. So I think, well, I'll follow the channels and I'll record and log everything I do and prove that it's just a big sham. And they're all the ombudsmans, basically, who all use the same trick. They start off going wild at what you tell them, and in the fact that you've got all this evidence, which nobody in the world would do, the things that I've done, they then go, oh, well, actually, and come out with some lame excuse. And you think, well, in my case, well, you didn't ask me for the evidence. You didn't take a lot of notice of the fact that I had the evidence. You can't really draw any conclusions until you've seen and heard the evidence, and yet, bang, you've gone from one thing to the other. So you're a scam, you're a con, you're just window dressing. As well as the public offices and Merseyside Police and HMRC and the NHS, Lee Valley Park Authority, all the ombudsmans and the councils. I've also been involved in private firms too, like Shop Direct, for argument's sake, who most people would go, who's that? But they own, or the ones that am aware that they own, are Little Woods, Very and Isme mail order catalogues, who sent me, well, attempted to sell me this, which I later found out, well, it's faulty. It's been faulty with a dozen faults from day one. It drives me absolutely insane. It drives everybody that I speak to on it, right, or send text messages on it insane, and they keep telling me to get another phone, and I keep saying, yeah, well, if you know where a money tree grows, I'll go and get another phone. And they tried to say that was brand new, but I found out, because it's a Motorola, I found out from Motorola that this Atrix originally sold in America via AT&T. So it weren't, not only was it not a new phone, it wasn't a new English phone either. And they've tried to deny that, but I've had evidence that they've done it with other things as well, and I was quite surprised at how calm they were that I discovered this, and still want to send me bills for it today, which I don't want to know. It was an emergency. I had to have something. I offered to sort the situation out in a number of ways. They chose to ignore the emails and then claim that I never contacted them at all. The Advertising Standards Authority on that did the same thing all other ombudsmen do, which I pretty much expected. And although I lose my temper with them and I get angry, really I'm just shaking the tree to see if it bears any fruit. I know they're not going to do anything. I know the situation won't be resolved, but I want to prove that they're window dressing. I want to prove that millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds of the taxpayers' money has been wasted, is being wasted, and has been wasted for a very long time. So, all the ombudsman, all the stuff's on my blog, of which I already gave you, a saint called allnights.blogspot.co.uk. All the documents, all the recordings I've ever done, even the police, anyone can download them if they help anybody. Groups. I work alone. I'm not associated with any groups. It's best that way. But if I can help other people, if I can help groups such as DPAC, the Disabled People Against Cuts, run by Mike Shelley, I help them. Anyone's welcome to anything that I've done or anything that I've got. It can be freely downloaded from a cloud service and used in any way anyone feels it can help them or a member of their family. As well as Shop Direct, I've been through a whole summer and spring of dodgy cameras. Not the one I'm using to film this. This is a Nikon S8200, the only one of 4 Nikon cameras I've had, brand new, that's actually worked, but the box it came in looked like it had been used as a football. So I dare say this was refurbished as well, and this came from Littlewoods. So they all came from Argos, who then denied that they were selling refurbished stock, but it was already easy because I already knew. If I already know and I know the facts, I will just play them. You know, a poker player would never show all his cards to the people he's playing against, and I wouldn't do so, and I don't play poker, in case you were wondering. But, you know, if you play me and you like me, I'm just going to run rings around you. Right, so I did it with Argos. It went on for 6 months. There was no talk of the fact that I'd lost, you know, so much work of what I'm trying to do, like this video log, for instance. You know, with animals and anything else. You know, 14 blogs, most of which, you know, a camera can be used for. You know, but I have specific needs for certain blogs, like astronomy, wildlife, exotic animals. You know, so it's 2 blogs on wildlife, 1 exotic, so anything non-UK, tropical, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and then 1 on British wildlife, and then I do 1 on orchids, of which I keep here, which you probably can't see. So, you know, my sort of knowledge covers a lot of sciences, a vast amount of sciences, and I have a degree, which I got at Middlesex University in computer science. So I get really annoyed when people try to use technological excuses for what's happened. You know, Nikon have tried to sort things out with Nikon. I wanted to see if they lied. They lied repeatedly. Well, Nikon UK. I tend to adore certain brands, and I adored Nikon since I was a kid. So I'm rather disappointed, you know, that the Nikon name doesn't mean to me now what it used to, and that's a real shame. There is another brand like that which meant a great deal to me, and my affair with them started in the mid-80s with one of the first of its kind ever available, which is the Sony Walkman. Oddly, today my new camera is a Sony, and here, which I use when I go out when the weather's cold, kind of takes my mind off of pain, whatever level it's at, is a Sony Walkman A series, which I love. I just wish it was double the memory size, or you could put an SD card in it. Another one of my pet hates, no SD cards, crafty, make you buy the next model. Yeah, so and Apple and Microsoft, companies that try to sort of take control by manipulation and misleading information. I always get found out, never learn. The next person or bald or idiot chairman that runs a company, you know, thinks he's smarter than everyone that's gone before him, and nobody will ever find out. Yeah, right, okay, fair enough. So, I do get angry about things, but I can control my anger, and I control my anger to find out what it is I need to know. I know that the way everything is set up, you're not going to get anything done. It's just designed to look like you're protected, and you're not. And I'm pretty much sure that the government and the previous one are both aware of things that are going on, whether they have no control and they're being dictated to by people that really run things, big business, or whether or not they're just in on it or taking backhanders, I couldn't say. But I do know, you know, I'm aware that nobody can be that stupid, and, you know, doing a overseas trade deal, suddenly I'm buying crap, other countries' crap. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they know, and probably even have a hand in setting it up. Oh, we owe you so much, mate, don't worry, you know, you just give us all your crap that you've fixed, and we'll just sell it to our people for new prices and pay you back what we owe you. And when the debt's settled, everything's cushy. Only thing is, somebody's noticed, and noticed I have. So I have a lot of skill sets, and I have a vast knowledge, and I have a lot of pains, and I do get angry, and I have every right to get angry, but I can control my anger. Sometimes it's difficult, and that's because of my pain, but even without all my aches and pains which have never been dealt with, everyone has the right to be angry when they've had done to them what I've had done to me, and the same goes doubly for my daughter. So there you are, as a little video log. As everything else that I do, there's a reason behind the video log, which, well, there's several reasons. One became clear to me after the comment left on my singing Chris Isaac's Wicked Game, and it gave me an idea, and I thought I could show people that I'm not, as much as I sound like it, I'm angry at what's done to my country and what's being done to innocent people that are not party to what's gone wrong, apart from voting for the idiots that caused it. They're not to blame for what's wrong, but are taking the blame, are paying the price, are paying the money, and this is wrong, and that's what I wanted to show. There is more, much more than needed in the way of evidence for each and every case, for each and every name that I ever mention, to prove what I'm saying. If people don't want to face the truth and prefer to sort of bury their head in the sands, then there's nothing I can do about that. And you can keep your head in the sand as long as you want, but it will still be this way when you rear your head again. And the only time it stops is when enough people know. If people are too naive, if people think I've been forging my evidence, well, I think I'd have a bit more money. You know, if I was not honest, and if I am that smart and smart enough to fake a load of stuff, I would do something a bit better to pay me than what I've done, and I certainly wouldn't have gone a year without any money. Conning money would be easy, but that's not me. I'd like a world where things are different, open, more honest, and we can progress as a species and the human race. But all I see is us going backwards in both our attitudes, even on a science basis, like with the Microsoft and Sony, rigging sort of their machines so that they don't last, games machines, and hope they don't do it with the PS4 and the Xbox One, even though I don't own any of these things and probably won't own the next ones. I don't like the fact that that's done to people. It reminds me of Alexei Sayle, comedian, famous for popping up from time to time in The Young Ones. He was doing a talk one day on a programme, being funny, and he held up a microchip and he said, "Do you know what this is?" This is a very long time ago now. He said, "This is the chip that lets the company that built your video player know that your warranty's just run out." And that was all he said, and it was all he needed to say. And the room I was in